Welcome to the Save Par Golf Podcast, where two average golfers talk about golf and things. I'm your host, Eric.
I'm your host, Dominic.
We are currently on episode 37, and we have a special guest today. We have Jeff, who is the owner and creator of Chasing Aces Golf. If you don't follow them on Instagram, make sure to hit the follow button. The Instagram handle is @ChasingAcesGolf. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us on our podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of like a work in progress. I know we've talked about it for a little bit, and scheduling's hard, and I don't live with Derek, so it makes it harder.
Yeah, he's
For
the
sure.
trooper. He's the trooper. He after work he comes over here into the Save Par Golf.
Yeah.
Save Par Golf headquarters here. So, but we're very excited to have you on. Chasing Aces Golf. Can you tell us a little bit of how it got started and what Chasing Aces Golf is all about?
Sure. So I never had intentions of starting a golf brand. I'm relatively new to the game. This is the start of my fourth season of golf. So managed to get by that first year, which is terrible for everybody. And just kept my head down and kept fighting through it. And on the course, I would see, different logos, the Rhoback dog, or I use Greg Norman's shark example. And I would think, gosh, why I would love to have my dog on my shirt, or embroidered on a polo or whatnot. And the logo of Chasing Aces is of my dog, Franklin. And he passed in an accident maybe 6 years ago now. So it was before I even started playing golf. And it took some time to process the loss and some therapy. And I had to, I don't want to say I get over it, because you never really get over it. But work on it a little bit so that I can turn a tough time into a more positive. And that outlet turned out to be Chasing Aces, the brand, because having him as the logo keeps his spirit with me. And I get to push it out to the world again and share Franklin again, which I love. And seeing Franklin's logo on a hat, being worn by my friends all around the country and new friends like you guys that are wearing it. And it just makes me so happy. So I say that Chasing Aces is 80% therapeutic for me and 20% because I like running a golf brand. And then the name, it came from, bantering back and forth with your friends. You're talking trash, and every par three you walk up to, you think is going to go in. And whether you say it or not, and whether you tell your friends or not, you think it, and it's going to go in. And I mean, obviously we don't know what the pros are thinking, but I guarantee you the pros are thinking the same thing. And we're down at the little par three Muni, or we're at the best course at Bandon, or we're playing at the Masters. Everybody thinks it. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started. The name came from just being on the tee box and messing with my friends, and come on, you got to go for it. You're going to go, this is going to go in, and you're pumping your friend up, or you say, hey, record me. I'm going to put this in, record me. And then you shank it 20 feet into the woods. It's a terrible shot. So yeah.
I'm always the one who records Derek. So if you ever see those videos of him doing a swing or like juggling golf ball,
he's the camera guy.
That's me. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I'm the camera guy, and I've got, my friend and coworker, Jared, he's helping with our sales. And so he's often the face. I call him, his name's Jared Chase, which is great because obviously Chasing Aces. And so I just call him Jared the Face Chase, because he's always the face in front of the camera. And he's a great sport because, we're both the same type of golfer. We're not very good. We're average. We're getting better. And he's all right with me putting up a couple of shanks every once in a while for the humor. Because, I'm never coming after him to be mean. I'm doing it for the humor and to be fun. And so I get what you're saying about being behind the camera.
I will say, definitely one of my favorite logos too. So it's pretty cool to know that you have a really cool logo, but it means something that much more special. So
yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
It's fun knowing that it's not just like some kind of dog vector image you found on Google and I was like, I like golden retrievers. There we go.
Yep.
It's nice to actually have like a name for it. Like I work with Gooder quite a bit. They make sunglasses, and their logo's a flamingo. And if you didn't know, the flamingo has a name. No, and right now I'm blanking on the name.
Oh no.
And I am embarrassed about it.
Would it represent something?
Yeah, no, it's a name. God, I can't remember his name. Now it bugs me, and I work with them.
You can edit in post.
20 minutes down after we're talking.
Yeah, and luckily, like I don't have a rep or anything, so like they can't yell at me about it. And luckily, nobody I work with knows that I have a podcast.
They should though. They should know.
Well, I should. My staff know, but my boss, I think I've mentioned it, but I don't think he thinks I'm serious about it.
Jeff, where are you guys located?
We're in Portland, Oregon. Yep, up in the Pacific Northwest.
So I know you said you've only played for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been out to Bandon? Or is that a bucket list item for you?
Everybody asks that because as soon as they hear that we're in the Pacific Northwest, and we're only about 5 hours away.
I've heard that Bandon they're opening more flights, but it's very difficult to get out there because like if you fly into Portland, it's still a ways away. And then for Bandon, there is an airport in Bandon, I believe, correct? It
is. It's a small airport. You're not going to get a Delta or Alaska in there. So the closest airport would be Eugene. And then it's still a 2 or maybe 3 hour drive. I don't know exactly that, but from Portland, it's a 5 hour drive. So, and it's not the most, I was just about to say it's not the most convenient, but for everyone else, for us, it's convenient. And I'm acting like it's not. But yeah, being super close, it's on my list. And I guess I'm taking it a little bit for granted because it's so close, because I'm always thinking, well, yeah, I can just go down there. And the thing that gets me is like the weather can be terrible in June and perfect in February. And it just,
which is wild. Yeah.
It's so counterintuitive.
So do you have a lot of cool courses in Portland or in Oregon? I know people think obviously that question I just asked you is about Bandon, but I'm sure there's plenty of other great tracks around the area that you play.
For sure. Yeah. There's, so we're pretty close to the city. I'm in Northwest Portland. So it's not technically downtown, but I'm minutes away from it. So essentially from downtown Portland, you can go in 30 minutes in any direction and be at a great course. And so there's the reserve out in Beaverton, Aloha, maybe 15 miles away is the reserve. Pumpkin Ridge, also out that way. Both have hosted PGA Tour events.
Like you just mentioned about the weather. So Minnesota here is crazy too. We're just kind of getting our spring really, which it's been spring for a while now, but we're really starting to get into the nicer weather. How is it for you as far as like your golf season? Is it something where you have 7, 8, 9 months out of the year? Or with us, it's basically like 5 or 6, depending.
4.
On
yeah.
4, yeah.
4.
Yeah. It's, you know what? Up until April, because April was a crazy month here. So, normally March to October, you'll have chances, October's hit or miss. It's going to be 70 one day and 40 the next. And so you wouldn't go out in that rain and whatnot. But like I was making a comment about April, one day it was 70 and you were playing, and 3 days later it's snowing, and you're not obviously going out in that. And that sounds like you guys.
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Which is not normal. Like normally we're playing in April. And so it's...
Oh, no, it's pretty normal for us.
Yeah, here it's normal. But yeah, it sounds... Yeah, it's been a crazy... I think the climate itself, all over the place.
For sure.
Really well, unpredictable.
But we're just starting to open up into nicer weather. So next week is supposed to be nice. And I think after that we'll be all right.
Okay.
I think today is like the first really, really nice day we've had.
Yep. And
especially in a long time.
It's supposed to kind of stick and get warmer as we go. But like I said, that's how we've been teased. We've had like 2 warm days and then it's snow or 30 degrees.
Yeah. Or we've had like a really nice day and we had like a tornado watch all day. So thunderstorms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah. Have you guys been getting out at all, or are you able to get out and play in those nice days, or is the course still closed?
Derek has gone and he has refused to invite me.
I've gone out. Well, for the record, I went, you would have maybe lasted 4 holes. It was so cold. Have
you not? Dude, I am built for the cold.
He's built for the cold. It was so cold. And there was very few people out there, and they're all the people that we ran across. We were like, we're just crazy idiots.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. It's so cold out. But it was one of those rounds of golf where I was playing so well that I just couldn't stop.
Can't walk away when you're playing well, no matter what.
That's what gets you, So I've played a full 18 and then I played a 9. I'm supposed to go play with a coworker this coming week, but me and Dom have normally what we do, like especially when like we met in college, but he is still finishing up a semester right now. But before we normally record on our podcast, we like to just go play like a 9 over. Like I live downtown Minneapolis, but there's a local little 9-hole par three.
Yeah.
So before we record, we normally kind of get out and play. So it hasn't really been that nice for us to do that. So we will
eventually.
Hopefully soon. But
Cool.
I wanted to ask you, with your Chasing Aces golf, I'm sure you get this all the time, but have you had a hole in one?
I do get that a lot, which is really funny. Unfortunately, no. I am currently chasing aces. How about you guys?
This is brilliant for the name, though, right? That's why it's Chasing Aces. That's what we're all trying to,
That's
strive
right.
for.
How about you guys?
I've been close. I had one. It was a par 3 over water, and anything over water or by water or like in the vicinity of water makes me panic. Doesn't matter how far away the water is, but like if you were to walk 10 feet, you'd be in a lake type of thing. That's how close we were to the water. And I swear to God, it rolled right over the hole and then just kept going. So I hit it a little too hard, and then I had a 2-putt par.
Yeah. I've actually told this story before, but you see it all the time that the person that hits a hole in one is typically by themselves. So I actually was, this was 2019. This was actually in April of 2019. I was supposed to meet one of my coworkers to go play, and he couldn't make it. So he bailed. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go play the executive course. And it was originally a par 4 hole, and they shortened it because they're doing some maintenance. So they pushed it to 165-yard par 3. And I took a smooth 8-iron. I'm by myself with the music in my ears, right? Got my headphones in, and I had a little baby draw, 1 bounce slam dunk into the cup. And I'm like, no one's around me. There's not even, of all the times that people are like, behind your back watching you, there was no one there. And so I'm like, what do I do? So I thought of the idea of like, I FaceTime my older brother, and I was like, hey, I think I just hit a hole in one. I'm going to walk you with me all the way down to the hole. And sure enough, it was in the cup.
It was in there.
But it's bittersweet, because it's like you play so many rounds of golf with other people and it never happens. I've been very close multiple times, but out of all the rounds of golf I played, the one time I hit it in. So I did get a little plaque. Engraved, whatever. I knew what happened. My older brother believes me.
Sure. Well, even if you're playing by yourself, and I've had this question because I have played by myself, and people ask if it goes in, are they going to believe me? That whole thing. And I don't care if they believe me. If I make it and I know it,
absolutely,
then I'm good. Like nothing that won't faze me at all. If people doubt me, and I also wouldn't lie about it either. And so, because I think integrity and etiquette of the game and honor of the game and all those buzzwords are true to me. And so if I make a hole in one, I will, if I'm by myself, I will absolutely own it and be proud of it and never shy away from it.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, the first thing I did, I don't know what you would do, but the first thing I did was I literally looked at my favorites in my contact list, and I didn't even care about the rest of the 3 or 4 holes I had left. I'm literally calling everyone, because it's something that you that's what you strive for. Like you said, we're chasing aces, right? And you get it, you're by yourself, and now you're trying to call every one of your buddies that you normally golf with. And so I don't even remember what happened after the hole in one.
Did you keep the ball?
Oh yeah. First thing I did after I called everyone was I got home and I ordered a little a case for it. And actually it was on April 19th, and I should have posted something about it, but it's April 19th. I remembered it. But what I wanted to kind of talk about that, like you said, the integrity of the game. What bothers me is that if somebody posts a hole in one on a par 3, because technically it doesn't, it counts. But I think through depending on what state, or if it is true, you have to be playing on a 18-hole course, and somebody has to be with you for if you wanted to be in the paper or whatnot.
Interesting. Right? I didn't know that.
But what bothers me is the fact that people are oh, it was only a par 3 course. It was only 160 yards. Or it was only 130 yards. But it's at the end of the day, if you get a birdie on that hole, you're going to mark a birdie, right? We're not questioning your birdie. So it's why question your hole in one?
That's right.
That's what bothers me about. Yeah.
Yep.
I see that all the time when people post it. It's I've played many of holes where it's 110 yards and never hit a hole in one. Been close, but never hit it. But now that we hit a hole in one, people are questioning you and saying it shouldn't count because it's on a par 3. And it's like, then why even play it?
Yeah.
Right?
Are you familiar with the good guys on like YouTube and everything? So one of them, Matt, he hit a hole in one on a par 4.
I seen that. That was crazy.
But he just hit another one.
He did it again. Yeah.
Yeah, at the Honda Classic.
Oh, is it like the Pro-Am?
No, so the PGA let them film before.
Oh, gotcha.
But they were playing with Chase Koepka, so they split up between. So one of them had, I think, one of the brothers with glasses, whatever.
Yeah, no,
yeah. Yep. Like Wesley, whatever.
Oh, Brian Wesley and the other
one. Whatever.
Yeah.
So he hit one it was on the back of the bear trap too.
Jeez.
So, and
those are par 4, right?
No, his was 3. Okay. Yeah. And he was saying that his hole-in-ones are better than everybody else's. And I was like, oh, I got to hear this. And then as he went through everything, I was like, shit, he's right. Because the first one was on a par 4. And you're just like, what are the odds of that? Like a short on par 4, he hits a 3-wood, it rolls in. But he didn't have 1, not 2, but he had 3 camera angles on it.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
With all of his buddies. And then he does it again at the Honda Classic because the PGA let them
play beforehand,
and record it and then post it to YouTube.
So, Jeff, what's your thoughts on that? If you hit a hole in one, do you think that you should be getting the drinks? Like,
well, yeah, there's that whole thing. No, I think my friend should buy me the drinks, and I know that goes against whatever the tradition is. But
who made that tradition? Because that's a dumb tradition.
We talked about a long time ago. There was kind of some rumors of like long time ago about.
Oh, I think we did talk about because was that the same thing as the bunkers?
Exactly. Yeah. But I think that's that's a old rule that should change. I think if you're in a hole in one, everyone else should be buying you drinks. Right?
I would think so. And is it just your group? Am I buying three of my friends' drinks, or am I buying the whole clubhouse drinks? Because I've heard both.
See, I would
buy my group drinks. Like if I had to, I'm buying whoever I'm with drinks. I don't care about everybody else because they weren't there to witness it.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been under the impression that you have to buy the whole place drinks, which I don't think would be the case. I would buy my friends. I have no problem. So it's like if I'm gonna hit a hole in one, hopefully it's like a twilight round where there's no one else around.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and my buddy.
Maybe it's happy hour.
Exactly. I did want to mention that you sponsored, is it Gigi Stoll?
Gigi Stoll, yeah.
Who is on is it Epson Tour?
Yep.
And so that's basically like a qualifying tour for the LPGA, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's the equivalent of the Korn Ferry.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, I kind of want to get your thoughts on that.
Sure.
How that kind of came about and where she's at right now. I do follow her, so hopefully she does make the LPGA. That's very cool for both parties, right?
Yeah, it'd be huge. So we just stumbled on her through social media, through being active on Instagram. There's a friend of mine, never a full bag. I don't know if you follow him or not.
I saw some of his
ball markers.
How I stumbled. Maybe he followed us, but I saw some of his posts today.
What was the Instagram handle?
Never a full bag.
Never a full bag.
Like minimalism in golf, not having a full bag so you don't overthink it. It's kind of what I do, but I just take a club and go type of thing.
Yeah. So he does a great thing typically on Saturdays where he will turn over his account and try and promote other accounts. So he'll do a call to action, say Friday, Saturday morning, and ask for his followers and friends to send accounts that should be promoted. And his whole thing is stop following celebrities, stop following the big media corporations. They're just there for the picture and the money. They're not going to help you. They're not going to support you, but your friends will. You guys will help me. I'll help you. I'll help him, but we're not going to get help from a celebrity. So that's his whole thing. It's like, gas your friends up, support your friends, pump their website, buy their stuff, that whole thing. So he was busy one Saturday. I offered to do it for him. And I said, let me push other brands. And I prefaced it with this note on stories saying, why would another clothing brand, or why would a clothing brand like us promote other clothing brands? Like, just because you might like our hat, you might like their hat. Buy both, buy one, buy whatever. Like, support the small brands. So through taking over that, I started asking for accounts to promote, and I was promoting, Fade and Fairway, the Super Twilight guys, the Golf Homie. I don't know if you know these guys. Anyway, they're all Pacific Northwest, Wildwood Golf Course. They just started a podcast today. Anyway, so Tyler of Fade and Fairway sent Gigi Stoll's account to us, or to me, and I promoted that. And then I looked into it and saw that she was a pro golfer. And when I started Chasing Aces, I had 3 goals. And one was to get a stranger to buy it, because I have friends and family that are supportive and they're great, and I need them to buy it and support me as well. But I need a stranger, right? Because obviously it needs to be bigger than my circle of 5. And then get into a store. And we're now in a store in Arizona called All About Golf. And we're flying down this month, actually, May 21st. We're flying down to play in their tournament that is benefiting the Phoenix Children's Hospital. So super excited about that. That was the second goal, is to get in a store. And now we're in a store. It's awesome to have a retail location carry our brand. Like, that was a big goal of ours. And then, of course, the third goal, to your question, was get it on a pro athlete. And so through that social media weird, let's share and help and support, we met Gigi Stoll, started reaching out, or, just reached out to her and sent her a note saying, we're a new brand. We're from the Pacific Northwest. I've got this much money to spend, and I can give you all the gear you want. And she said, great, love what you're about. Looked into us, read about us, and agreed. Turned out she's from the same town as us, really? Which I had no idea. She doesn't promote that, doesn't say that. So I grew up in a small town called Aloha. It's in Oregon here. It's about 15 miles west of Portland. And she grew up in Beaverton, and they're, town lines right next to each other. So it was pretty cool to be like, wow, you're from Beaverton, I'm from Aloha. That's awesome. We know a bunch of the same people, but we didn't know it, we were just strangers.
That kind of happened like after the fact?
Totally happened after the fact. And You'll like this. She's a huge basketball and sneakerhead fan, and was league player of the year in basketball her high school senior year. So very good basketball player, just happened to be ungodly talented at golf. And then, so 4 years in a row, state player of the year, league player of the year, freshman to senior year at golf. Then went to the University of Arizona, won a national title there, and then graduated, turned pro. And this is her second year on the Epson Tour, and needs to finish in the top 10. So the top 10 finishers after the whole season, because they go all around the country from March to September, bouncing around, playing in different tournaments. After all said and done, in September, the top 10 finishers after the year get their LPGA card. And
how many players are in this tour? Like,
sure.
Like top 10. Is it a pretty deep?
Yeah, it varies, but it's roughly about 130.
Okay, so it's pretty competitive. So, like, he needs it's a tough.
Yeah, and she was 24th last year.
Okay,
so she's on her way up.
Top 10 in a tournament, though, not too long ago. I think you were posting, right?
She was top 15 last 2 weeks ago. Last week, I'm blanking. There's so many. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yes, she was top 15. She was in Kansas this week with the play suspended due to weather, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, she's actually jumping off the Epson Tour to participate in the USGA Women's Qualifier in Missouri. So that's huge for her if she can, show out and have a day there or have a weekend there.
So that's kind of like I said, it's like a win-win situation for both of you. Mm-hmm. You're putting out your name out there, but you're also, like you said, you're right next to each other from towns.
Yep. So it's I'm really happy to support her and try and help her along her way, because it's an expensive journey, like entry fees and travel and all this stuff. And I hope, and I'm waiting for a company with a bigger checkbook to come and kick us off, because that's what should happen, right? Because we're not going to cut a check for $20,000 and knock off Titleist or Callaway, but they could knock us off, and she should take that, because that's the process, and that's our goal. My goal is to keep her going and keep her playing until that happens. And maybe when she's holding up the big trophy, she can give a tip of the cap to us, and that'll be great. But we anticipate a bigger company to take Reed.
So with Chasing Aces Golf, is that something that you're looking to do as well? Like not only to sponsor one person, but sponsor multiple people, or is that just like an added bonus? I know you talked about that was one of your goals. Is that something that you want to kind of do down the future and continue to do?
Yeah. So we right now just sponsor one athlete, Gigi Stoll, but we also sponsor teams. So I went back and got a hold of my high school's golf program, and now we support and sponsor them. We're in talks to sponsor Gigi's high school, Beaverton, because we think it'd be great to go back to her school and support those up and coming. So we're bouncing around different high schools trying to support, and hopefully we can keep kids involved in the game so it ultimately grows.
I know Bryson was on a podcast a while back, and I don't know the specifics, but I did kind of watch a short period of it. And it was basically talking about how like the top 100 and some golfers, PGA specifically, are sitting pretty nicely, but that other group behind them it's such a grind. Like you said earlier, the hotel, the expenses, mentally you're not only fighting for a tour card or a player, PGA Tour card, but you're also fighting to make sure that you can make it to the next tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome what you're doing. I think that's fantastic. We've preached it every episode. Safe Par Golf is all about growing the game, and this is like the perfect example of how we can grow the game, or how you are growing the game, and which is why we love to have people like you on to talk about those kind of things, because I think the LPGA Tour is in a good spot now. They're getting more spotlight, and I think people are doing a better job of letting the female athletes get that shine, because there's so many good female athletes out there
for sure
don't get that recognition.
Yeah. So and there's a documentary coming out following the Epson Tour, this current tour that's coming out this summer, and so they're filming it right now.
Very cool.
And I mean, I don't know when or where because they just announced it, but it's interesting watching the crews follow, and be there, and it should be great. I'm excited for the attention that it should bring, or the spotlight it should put on the tour. So hopefully it'll be out. They tease it and say it'll be out this summer. I don't know what that means exactly. Could be August, September, who knows? But sometime this summer we'll have a.
Well, if it does come out, we'll definitely be pushing it and make sure we get the Chasing Aces hat. Gigi.
Love it.
So how did you get in the game of golf, though? I know you said you started the brand, but it was actually.
Sure.
The time was a little bit different. So like 4 years ago, what got you into the game?
Well, 10 years ago, I had a bad leg injury playing basketball, and that I couldn't recover from it. So pretty, blew my knee out, chipped my femur all in one play, and had to, have surgery and bolts and screws and all this stuff, whatever. And then physical therapy and doctors, they all said, like, yeah, you're not going to play basketball. You shouldn't run. And I physically I can do it, but it just hurts and it swells. And then I shouldn't do it, but I can. So it just causes a bunch of pain to run. And so what's that?
You said you pay for it after the fact. If you do,
absolutely, during and after.
My ankle is actually like 8 screws, 2 pins, and a plate put together.
Exactly.
Like I notice if I wear like the wrong golf shoes, it's just like swollen, and I'm like crabby. And then it's a long day.
Yeah. So I grew up playing basketball. That was my first love. High school, college, and semi-pro ball, and I played city leagues after that, and just loved it, and couldn't give it up. And finally, due to injury, had to. And then I tried every outlet or every other competitive thing I could find to replace it. Marathons and triathlons and adventure races, and all of those things are terrible for me because it's still running and pounding, but it's not basketball. So I thought it was okay. And then it just caused more pain and more hurt and whatever. And then needed a competitive outlet, and just picked up the game. And I had clubs. I had a friend that I'm 6'4" and I'm left-handed, and he's also 6'4" and lefty. And he maybe 15 years ago shipped his clubs out to me, and I wasn't playing. They went right up into the attic. I never even took them out of the box, out of the FedEx box. I had no idea what was in there. And they just went up in the attic. And then 4 years ago, took them out and went to the range and got hooked. And now that's all I want to do.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's
a
game that you can play. I'm sure one of your probably if you were to say like if there's one thing that you could do or change, you'd probably play golf when you were at an early
Absolutely.
age. And that's kind of where I'm at too. Same thing. I wasn't playing any semi-pro ball or anything, but basketball was my first love. Played through high school, pretty much playing since first grade. I mean, I was obsessed with it. That's all I wanted to do. And then obviously that didn't work out, but still played it quite a bit afterwards. But then same thing. I fell in love with golf and got obsessed with it. Like it's such a you can get a decent exercise because if you walk, right? But at the same time, it's so psychological, mental. Exactly. Like you can go out and shoot your best round one day, and then the very next day, it's like you forgot how to play golf, and that's what I love about golf. And so, I totally agree with you 100%. It's something that like I'm competitive and Dom's competitive when we talked about this, but Dom is a different type of competitive when it comes to golf. It's like
I'm an animal.
Give him a club. We talked about this on a Duffin' Up podcast. Like they said that we should start a caddy player series because Dom's like, hey, what should I do? And I'm like, maybe use this club. And he's like the perfect example of a coach, right? We talk about coaching basketball and all that. Tell him to hit a club. He hits it. It works out. He's like the easiest person to coach. However, if he hits a bad shot and maybe didn't grab the right club, he's totally cool with it. On to the next shot. And I think 98% of us are probably the exact opposite, where we're like completely pissed off that we hit that. And then it's in your head. And then the next shot's the worst. You know what I mean? It just continues the domino effect. So
my story with golf is I didn't play basketball. I was a baseball player. I still probably can't play basketball. I have no idea. Like I know we were kind of talking before, you can't name X amount of players. I think I can name a bunch of players, but I don't know what positions they play. So if I had to build a team, I'd be screwed. Like the only center I know is Cat.
I can build you guys a team. That's okay.
Anyways, so I was put in lessons at a younger age by my grandparents, and I did the lessons and everything. And then obviously, like I never really play golf with, so I didn't play golf for a long time. And then high school rolls around, and a couple like of my good friends who I've known forever, they're like, "Oh yeah, we play golf." I was like, "Well, why didn't you tell me that like 7 years ago?" So I hadn't swung a golf in who knows how long, and now it's starting to kind of almost come 360 to where now I'm getting my friends into golf. And one of my buddies, same height as me, both right-handed. I took him out for the first time, and I've never seen such a natural player. Like never swung a golf club before, right down the middle. Almost holes in one on a shorter par 3. And it's one of those things where it's like, Derek was saying how like we should have like a caddy thing. He asked me what to hit, and I was like, I don't know, like just grab a club and kind of go type of thing. And I think growing the game that way to just kind of let people free swing what they want, swing what they think, I think is a better way to teach it. Versus, hey, you're 170 yards out. What's your 170 club? Well, obviously, nobody's going to know that. I just buy new irons. I have no idea what my 170 club is.
I don't know my distances.
Go with it.
Like I can hit my driver 170, or I can hit my 60-degree 170. Like, what do you want me to hit? Like, if I'm doing driver off the deck here, I'm going to skull a 60. Like, I think just kind of free swinging, let people learn from themselves. I think that's a better way to play golf versus constantly stressing out about what you're going to hit at the tee box.
For sure. Yeah, to that point, I got my girlfriend into the game as well. When we met, I told her, I'm a big golfer, and so she was a former college volleyball player, so an athlete. And you just put a club in her hand, and within a month, she had it. Like she knows what she's doing, and I don't want to say we're competitive, but we are. I don't want to admit that we are, but we are, and competitive in the sense that if I play bad and she plays well, she's going to beat me. And if we both play well, it's going to be close. Like I like the competitive side that we have, but to your point, trying to grow the game, just get anybody out there, let them do what they want to do, and help them through those I don't want to say embarrassing times, but when I first started, I'd get a 12 on a hole. I'd get 13 on a hole. And I
get 12 or 13 on a hole. Are you kidding me?
I would be.
Today, our show is sponsored by Chasing Aces Golf. Ask any golfer and they will tell you their hole-in-one story, whether it went in or not. Chasing Aces was launched with the idea that everybody is welcome on the course. They believe in building a community through their shared love of the game. Golf comes with pressure and expectations, and that includes what you wear. Chasing Aces hats, performance polos, and t-shirts keep you looking sharp from the clubhouse to the tee box. So take the pressure off. We're all here to have a good time. Walking the fairway and chasing aces means you see every hole as a golden opportunity. Visit ChasingAcesGolf.com and find them on Instagram at ChasingAcesGolf. Even the best are chasing aces. So anyway, your girlfriend, so she picked up the game of golf and now she's just as competitive as you are?
She is, yeah. And she's only a couple of steps behind me. I'm not some great golfer. So having her on my heels is great because it just pushes me.
Makes you want to be better.
That's right. But anytime we go out, it could be either one of us. It's not that I'm that much better or whatnot, but it's great having her in the game because it's fun for her and I to go out, and usually we just play 9. I think 18 pushes her a little bit. If we're in a cart and we're traveling, like we traveled to Bend, which is 3 hours southeast into the desert. And we'll play 18 because it's kind of a special trip. But if we're tooling around the city, we like to play 9. So,
question for you: I'm not even sure if you even drink, but if you do drink, do you prefer to drink on the golf course or do you wait? See, I'm a craft beer guy, and I actually like to wait till after the round of golf. I'm not a big drinker on the course.
Yeah.
What's your thought on that?
So I actually don't drink. Don't drink.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I've actually awesome. Never had alcohol. I've never
really?
Yeah, I know.
I wish I could say that, to be honest. That's actually pretty impressive.
I love margaritas so much.
That's fascinating. And
it's not some moral high ground. It was because I was super competitive in basketball and I could go off on that. And if you and I are teammates and you drink and I don't, I'm that much better. And if in college it mattered a lot more because guys would go out and they'd come to practice hungover and you're trying to play for playing time and scholarships. And if you're hungover at practice and I'm not, I can run circles around you. Next thing I know, I'm one up on the bench and you're one down on the bench. And
I asked that question because sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm glad I asked that question because
no, it's all right.
So many memes and all these videos and of people just getting smashed, or not even a smash, but just drinking cocktails on the course. And again, I don't care about that, but I'm in that same realm as far as I focus in. I'm not trying to beat anybody specifically. I'm more playing for myself, but I'm better when I'm sober and I prefer to play without drinking. And so I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that you get a couple of drinks in them and all of a sudden next thing you know, they're just it's like you already have that advantage being sober. Right.
See, yeah. It doesn't bother me if they do. I don't mind if players around me do or my friends do.
Works for you too if you're playing for cash, right?
Exactly.
See, I used to think I was better sober, and then Derek and I played a course, and the front 9 was not my friend, and we made the turn, and then I had a beer, and then I just shot off par, birdie, par. I was like, I like this.
That's not me.
So
though.
do you have a beer at every turn now?
I might have to. This was a couple years ago, but yeah, it was like, I'm just not doing well. So I was like, I'll have a beer, and then it was just like par, birdie, and I was like, this is sweet. This is if this is what it's like to be good at golf, I should be good at golf.
John Daly style, just sipping that.
Got my DCs and my cigarettes.
Jeff, I know we've talked a lot about golf, and you've been mentioning basketball, and I'm obsessed with basketball. I have a passion for basketball. I noticed you got shoes in the background, some Jordan pictures here.
Yeah.
And me and Dom, especially Dom. I mean, I've been a big sneakerhead. Dom's way bigger sneakerhead than I am as far as.
I've been doing it longer.
I wouldn't say he's doing it longer because I'm older than him, but
I'm doing it better.
He's got a lot more sneakers than I do, so to speak. Yeah. But do you think the game of golf itself is kind of growing in the right direction? I know there's so many people, Pat Perez, Bubba Watson, so many people now. The Jordan golf shoes is really emerging. Do you like that? Are you a big sneakerhead? What do you think on that?
I mean, I think it's great. You know, it's crossing cultures or lines, or bringing basketball to golf and golf to basketball. And I mean, I don't see a problem with it at all. I think it's great. And if it gets the younger generation, or if it gets guys like me into it, you know, I'm old, but I'm a sneakerhead from back in the day. And if I see the Jordan 1 or the 12s just came out in the golf cleat or spike, you know, I get excited. It's nostalgic. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I think it's great. I'm all for it. What I hate are the bots. I'm a fan. I'm not a fan of the bots. I don't ever get the shoes because I lose out on the raffles and all the stuff. So that frustrates me. I'm old school. I want to stand in line for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours and earn my shoes.
Exactly. I had to trade a pair of my shoes to get the 12s. And then I just got lucky and somehow got 2 pairs of the all white Jordan 1 lows. Yeah. I don't know. They're like, hey, we're restocking. And then I was like, cool. I went to buy 1 and then I ended up buying 2. And I was like, this is a oopsies, but it's like a good oopsies.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Govern? Do you know Govern?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been following them longer than Derek's known about.
I love Govern.
Yeah. So I've had 2 pairs of shoes done by Govern. One is a Jordan 1 football cleat that he put spikes on or cleats on, whatever. And then a pair of Kobe 6s. So I used to work at Nike, and because Nike is 2 miles from where I grew up, like it's in my backyard. So I was always on campus, sneaking in as a kid, trying to get into the gym, all the things, because Jordan might be there. Right. And so eventually got a job there. And so through that was on the intramural team of the basketball department. And so I didn't work in the basketball department. The people that actually, the developers of the shoes, they would, you know, they're 2 years ahead designing the shoe of 2 years from now, that type of thing. Yeah, and I was on that team. And so for that team, they made 12 pairs just for us of a Kobe 6 with our team name on it. And so there's only 12 in existence. And so I wore mine out because I'm a Jordan guy. So you give me a pair of Kobe's, I'm not going to put them on a shelf. I'm going to dig a ditch in them. I'm going to run a marathon in them. I'm going to play golf. Like, I don't care about the Kobe's like I would a pair of Jordans. So they were pretty beat up. And so they sat on a shelf for years until I got into golf, until I found Govern, and then sent them to him. And he put a pair of Tiger Woods TW90s, I think. I forget what they're called. Anyways, a pair of Tiger Woods spikes. Yep. And so I haven't played in them yet. He did that months ago because I'm bringing them down to Phoenix for that tournament. That's where I'm going to break them out. So,
so you don't have to tell us.
Go ahead.
Like, you don't have to tell us like what the price is, but is that expensive? Because I know he does a great job.
Yeah, his quality is sick.
The quality they do, and they do other sports and stuff like that. Is that like expensive? Like Mosh expensive?
So there's 2 lanes or whatever. You could take an old pair of basketball shoes and just swap the soles out and not make them golf cleats or spikes. And that is about $150, $200, something like that. And then going basketball to golf is like $230, $220, something like that. So, you know, it's a couple $100.
Yeah, it's still not too bad though.
The thing that also hurts is you have to buy obviously a second pair of brand new golf shoes that are then destroyed to make. So it does not make financial sense, but if you want to flex on your friends, it's the way to go.
Well, I have some Air Force golf shoes that I made. Those are pretty neat.
Yeah.
Like that's like the extent of me. I know we both have a couple of like Leaderboard custom golf shoes.
Yeah. You follow Luke, Leaderboard Customs?
I don't. No.
Follow Luke. He does a great job. He's done shoes for Derek and I, and then I have one of his like Galaxy collection Roshi Pros. Does a hell of a job, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they're sick. I'm trying to get him to do like I said, I have the all white Jordan 1 lows. I'm a big floral guy, so I want little like floral pieces on them. I think that'd be sick for like the spring and summer. So I'm trying to get him to do some of those. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
We're hosting our first annual Safeport Golf Tournament actually in June, and he's one of our sponsors. So he's actually, he's donating for the closest to the pin. free pair of Nike Roshe G golf shoes of design of whatever you choose. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, check him out. Leaderboard Customs. He's fantastic.
He does a great job. Super good dude. Big sneakerhead too.
We've had him on the podcast twice, and it's the same thing. Like with you, like we could talk hours for shoes and golf. It's
for sure.
So and he's kind of in that.
I don't want to go off too much on shoes because, like I said, like you just said, we could do it. But what's your grail? What's your grail? Not golf shoe, but like top of the line, your one shoe. And it does obviously a grail doesn't have to be the most expensive. It could be your favorite shoe from your childhood. But
oh God, you can't ask me that.
What's your one pair? You get one pair. And I only ask because I already have mine. So,
So like if I could sell like everything and get them.
Well, I mean, sure. Either you already have them and you're never letting them go, or you want them. Like, what's the one pair that you just?
So I have different like levels because I've been doing this a long time. I've been like collecting and buying since I was in high school. So like I was always that kid in high school that I had like fresh shoes all the time, and like that was me. And like I would save up my money to get them, or I'd find some cool ones on clearance. And like all the other kids in school that thought they were sneakerheads had no idea that's like I could outdo them in like every sense of the word. For a long time, mine were the Levi Jordan 4s. I loved those things. I loved the black pairs, and then I bought the black pairs as like a Valentine's Day gift to myself before they shot up in price because you gotta love yourself.
Absolutely.
And I don't have a girlfriend or wife like Derek, so I'm alone. Just me and my.
Just to clarify, I don't have a wife and a girlfriend. I just have a wife.
Yeah.
That was exactly.
So I guess currently it was the Levi 4s, and I have them. I love them. They're great, and I got them for like a steal compared to what they're going for now. God, I don't think I have like another grail that I can think of. Like I would love, I would love like an original like Yeezy one, like the Solar the Zens, the great, like those would be sweet. But I can't really like think of one and go, yes, that's like I need that shoe. Because I feel like the easy answer is like anything from like 85, like the 85 ones.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer. The 85 one is, as far as a grail for a shoe for Jordan. I grew up. We're a little bit of a different age group between me and Dom.
Yeah, Derek's old.
I'm a little bit older. I wouldn't say old.
I must be ancient then.
Yeah, I was going to say you're really. No.
I turned 25 in 15 days.
God.
Yeah, so I'm in my I'm in my 30s, but. Again,
Jesus.
I will go down to say Jordan is the GOAT, is the greatest of all time. So Jordan is my guy.
See, KG's my guy. Like I grew up watching KG dominance. I think my all-time favorite player is Shaq.
Yeah.
Just seeing a big dude like that dominate a game and then dominate the league, and then
for sure, 100%,
the most dominant player we've ever seen.
I would have to say.
That's the extent.
Jordan and Kobe are my 1 and 2. I'm not saying I don't want to like dig at LeBron, but as far as instinct and if I'm going to have somebody take the last second shot or just even build a team around, I would take Kobe and Michael all day long. And again, no disrespect to LeBron, but 85 Jordan would probably be my number 1 pick. But I was obsessed with the Brett 11s, the Space Jam 11s. They're not super high end shoes. They're not grail shoes by any means because they don't. Well, the downside is that material isn't the best.
You can't say that they're not grail shoes because to somebody that's their grail.
Well, that's what I said. The Brett 11s.
Space Jam is my grail. They're sitting right there. They're framed on my wall.
I saw you point at it. That's why you brought it up.
Well, and I was looking at it too. But the reason why I was saying that is I wasn't trying to be a jerk because the Brett 11s were actually. They came out in what was the first year that they came out? 1995, 96. I believe. 96.
96, because I was born 97, which was the year the 12 came out, and I actually own an original 97 12.
See, I bought the original. I had the 96 Breads, and that was like my favorite shoe. And I got them, and I paid $100 for them. They had like sand in they were just torn, but that would be my grails, the Brett 11s, besides the 85 ones. So I love that shoe. And I know you just said your Space Jam. I mean, it's a beautiful shoe. It's
really great.
It is.
I mean, if I can flex a little bit, that shoe is signed by Jordan, and that shoe is signed by Tinker. Well, I can't point backwards.
Really?
Anyway. Yeah. So
And you're saying it's not a grail.
I love it. No, I wasn't trying to say that because the Bread 11 is the grail for me.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, most people wouldn't say that is the grail. I guess is what I was trying to say. But I agree with you. 11 is my favorite, probably my favorite silhouette, my favorite shoe.
For a long time, I just wanted a shoe as old as I am, so I had to track down. I've wanted the like not like the original colors of the 12s, but I think it debuted when he was in the playoffs. It's like the Flint Blue 12.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got the different blue and white laces, and it's from '97. And they're old because somebody tried to like glue them together at some point.
Yeah, they got the soul. Tell us a little bit more about the Tinker and the Jordan signature, though. I need to hear about this.
Yeah, you can't bring that up and not talk about it.
Yeah, I brought it up to talk about it because I love talking about it. So their dead stock Space Jam 11s bought in 2009 when they first came out, something like that. 2000.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think 2009 is.
Yeah.
2009 or 10. I think.
Yeah. Anyway, so bought 2 pairs. That's back when you could buy 2 pairs, but you couldn't buy the same size. And so I was in line with a friend. He bought the 11 and a 13. I bought a 13 and 11. Gave him the 11s. I got both size 13s. So now I've got 2 pairs of 13s. One stays in the closet, never to be worn. The other one I wear all the time and just put my foot through it. Love it. Still have both pairs, but one is destroyed and one is perfect and hanging on a wall. And then I was working at a restaurant downtown where Jordan would stay when he would come to Portland for Nike visits or with Charlotte playing the Blazers whenever he's in town. And Jordan Brand rented out that restaurant that I worked in. And so they came in 2 or 3 days before his event and remodeled the whole place. Didn't remodel, but rearranged the whole place and set it up for a DJ and a buffet and all the things. And we didn't have all that at the time. We were a sit-down fancy restaurant. So I told my boss, I am going to ask for his autograph. And so just so you know, like, I'm going to do it. And
I'm going to risk everything right now.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would be the same. 100%.
I mean, I like my job, but come on, like, it's just a job. I can find another one, but when's this chance going to come?
It's the goal. Right?
The Nike folks, all of his handlers, bring us together the night of the event and say, this is a social event for him. He's not working. Everyone here knows him. They're all friends. They either work at Nike or they're like his celebrity friends. Do not bother him for autographs. Do not bug him for photos. Don't do any of that. So I, again, told my boss, like, hey, I'm going to do it. So, like, just if we get in trouble and you need to fire me, go right ahead. But I respect you. I like him as a boss. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. So just a heads up.
Taking the risk.
Yep. So I brought the shoes in, put them in his office. And my role that night, normally I was like a maitre d' host, concierge. Like, I literally would walk around and make sure everything's all right, sort of keep things off the manager's plate. Your drink's not good enough, your food's cold, you're out of town, you need directions somewhere, looking for something fun to do in Portland, whatever. I was just socializing and mingling. But at an event like that, I don't have to do any of that because they're all doing their own party thing.
Sure.
And so I would just keep him in my line of sight. And I wasn't near him, but I would stay in line of sight with him so I knew where he was. And then I told his handlers, I said, give me a 15-minute heads up for when he wants to leave. And if he wants to go out the front, and I'll have security and valet and everything ready. Or if he wants to go out the back, and I'll have his car pulled around and whatever. Great, we'll let you know. And I didn't care which direction he went. I just needed to know where to stage my shoes. Because I knew which direction is he going is where I needed to go. So they pulled me aside and they're like, all right, he wants to leave in 10 minutes. He wants to go out the back. Like, great. So I called security. I did my job. I got everything all set up and had his car, SUV, pulled around. And then I grabbed my shoes and I put them under a dumpster by the freight elevator. And these are dead stock Space Jams now alone. And I have to go back into the restaurant and get him. And I say, right this way, Mr. Jordan. And we walk through the restaurant. He says goodbye, all the things. And when we turn the corner, we're in the back of the house off the floor, walking down a hallway towards the elevator. And in that line of people are the 3 Nike handlers, his mom, myself, his girlfriend, now wife. And in the back was Jordan and I. And I said, as soon as we turn the corner and we're off the floor, I said, I have a pair of dead stock Space Jam 11s around the corner. Would you be willing to sign them? He said, yeah, no problem. And I said, we're told not to bother you. Are you sure it's okay? And he goes, no problem. I got you. So we're having that conversation as we walk down the hall. You turn to the right, the elevator's open, and all those people are waiting. We turn to the right and take 3 steps left, and I pull out this shoe from under the dumpster, pull out a silver Sharpie, because you guys know it's a black patent leather, so a black Sharpie doesn't do it. So I have a silver Sharpie in my suit, hand it to him. He signs it. Now I have to take a signed Space Jam Jordan 11, put it back in the box, back under the dumpster, and get on the elevator with the same people that told me not to do it. So now we have to go 15 floors down, and it's dead silent. Nobody's talking. They all watched that happen.
And you're like, oh my God, I think I'm going to lose my job at this point.
But the shoe's signed, so I don't care what happens. I just got to get back to that shoe. And luckily, Jordan broke the silence and said, did you see this guy? He had a plan. He had a silver Sharpie. The shoes were hidden. He knew what he was doing. He was ready. It's not funny, but it broke the ice and everybody laughed. And it was because it was Jordan. So get him out of the elevator into his SUV. He's gone. Now I have to jump back on the elevator. And now I'm in the elevator with the people that told me not to do what I just did. And I don't have the protection of Jordan. So now I'm talking to his mom, Dolores Jordan. How was your trip in Portland? Is there anything I can do for you? Just anything I can think of to say to keep the conversation going and away from talking to the Nike people. So I get her up to her room. And then now I'm on, I don't know, the 12th floor, but I'm in the guest suites. And I have to sprint back to the restaurant and find the shoes. Luckily, they were still under the dumpster. Nobody knew what was going on. Lock them back in the office. And they stayed there all night. I finished out the party. My coworkers are super excited because they got his napkin or they got the cigar butt from what he smoked on the deck.
You got the grail, though.
And I've got a pair of signed Space Jam 11s hidden in the office. And I'm like, I want this night to end. Let me get out of here with my shoes. And we're so close. So that's how I got the Jordan signature. And then thinking that would be it, like, how can it get any better? I never thought to get Tinker's autograph on the other one. It was just, I got the Jordan. That's pretty cool. And then maybe that was, 2009 or 10. So then, 2 years ago now, 3 years, whatever, I had the idea of like, oh, it'd be really cool to get Tinker's autograph on that other shoe, because some people have the Jordan signature on one shoe. Nobody has the Tinker and the Jordan.
I was going to say, that's got to be one of a kind.
On one pair, right? So, he lives in Portland. Tinker does. And so you see him around town, and few people, sneakerheads, know who he is. But I've been in coffee shops where he'll walk in and I'll go, holy cow, that's Tinker Hatfield. I don't have my shoes, but there he is. And I'm thinking, is now the time to talk to him? Should I go tell him, and hey, I got this shoe. Could I come over and have you sign? Like, that's never going to work. So I just happen to be at a hardware store in North Portland near where his studio is. And I walk down the aisle and I'm like, holy cow, that's Tinker Hatfield. And I don't say anything because I don't have my shoes. And so I decide, well, what are my options? So I drive back to my apartment, grab the shoe, go back to the hardware store. It's been about 30 minutes now. There's not a chance he's still there, right? Like, there's a chance, but unlikely. Yeah. Like, who spends that long at a small hardware store?
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently Tinker Hatfield does.
Tinker Hatfield does. So he wasn't at the hardware store. So I'm standing in the parking lot going, if I was Tinker and I'm in this parking lot, I'm either going home or I'm going to my studio. And I'm weird, but I'm not weird enough to go to his home. No, because Portland, we know where he lives. Like, it's not, it's not secret, but I'm not going to go near his house.
Yep.
It's kind of like here with Prince.
What's that? Yeah, exactly. Right. Everyone knows where Prince lives, but you wouldn't like him.
We all knew where Prince lived.
Yeah, but we're just kind of leave him be.
Yeah, we're not weird enough to go, hey, Mr. Prince, man.
Yeah.
Like,
can you set my guitar?
Right. So my thought was, because I am weird enough, I will drive to his studio. And as I'm driving, I'm thinking, if he's outside, I will stop. Because a person on the sidewalk, I could walk down the sidewalk. But if he's out front of his studio, I will stop. If he's not, I'm just going to, even though I know his car, because I saw it in the parking lot of the hardware store. So drive down the street, there's his car, and he's standing outside. And I thought, holy crap, I have to try, because that's the game I came up with in my head. That made it okay to stalk this person, apparently, because he's outside. So I park my car. I walk up to him. He's having a conversation with his office, the person next door in the garage shop next to him. And I stand there for 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm not involved in the conversation, and that is incredibly awkward to stand there.
So you were like there, right next to them, like standing.
Yeah, as if the three of us were having a conversation, but I'm just standing there. 2 out of 3
were actually really talking.
Yeah,
sure.
So when they finished their conversation, I said, as he was walking to his studio, he was kind of turning the corner. I said, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Hatfield. I'm a big fan. We used to work together at Nike. I was in NSW, Nike Sportswear." And I named names of people that he worked with that were in between us. And that way it sort of put him at ease, because I was like, I was on campus, I worked with so-and-so, we worked on this project together, and it kind of calmed him down a little bit. And I said, we actually met the night at that restaurant because Tinker Hatfield was there when I got the Jordan autograph. And so I'm trying to give him clues and reminders of like, we've met before. I know you don't remember me, but sure, I'm not crazy. Yep. And I said, I do have, so that night I was lucky enough to get Jordan's signature. I have the other shoe with me. Would you be willing to sign that one? And he goes, yeah, no problem. So I run to my car. I come back and he's gone. Oh, no. Like, are you kidding me? I'm this close. Where did he go? And so then next I hear, hey, Jeff, we're over here. And he calls me into his neighbor's auto body shop that he was talking to on the street. And so they continued their conversation in that garage. I come in and it is, muscle cars, Vets, Vipers, Porsches, Jaguars, high-end auto body stuff. So first of all, I'm looking at these cars like, this is amazing. Now I'm standing in this room and Tinker's signing my shoe. And we probably spent 20 minutes talking Jordan stories. And so to stand in that room and just talk to Tinker about Jordan and his side of stories was amazing. So I left that day with the signed shoe, called my friend who's a photographer and said, hey, I got something for you. I need some photos. And he goes, yeah, just drop them off at the coffee shop, because we all hang out at a certain coffee shop. And he's like, just drop them off at Deadstock. It's a sneaker coffee shop.
Deadstock coffee shop. Oh, you go there? Oh, yeah. They actually make the sneaker, right?
Yeah.
For the sneaker.
With the coffee, with the cocoa.
I got to get out to Portland. I literally, do you go to Index?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Index and Deadstock are about a block away from each other.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know they
Deadstock today.
They did a collab, I think, Deadstock with Adidas, I believe, right?
Yep. They made a shoe.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, I was supposed to leave the shoes at Deadstock, and I was like, no, can't do that. But I will drive them to your studio and hand them to you. And I told him the whole story. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty serious. Let's not do that. Just bring them to my studio, hand them to me. I need 90 minutes to take photos, and then back to me. So thanks for letting me share that story. I love doing it. I love telling it, but that's why it's framed, because I don't want the shoes. The shoes are in storage, hidden away, but that's why I have really nice framed photos of those shoes, because I love looking at them. So anyway, thanks for letting me ramble on about that.
No, that's actually probably one of the cooler stories I think I've ever heard as far as sneakers. And like you said, Jordan is the guy that I always looked up to playing basketball, and that's the reason why I played. My older brother was kind of my mentor, but Jordan was the reason why I played. I mean, everyone loved Jordan.
For sure.
He just was at another level, and absolutely. But I was going to ask you, though, before we I know we've been talking for a long time, so I apologize for keeping you on, but did you watch The Last Dance?
I can do this all night. I took most of it. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so what was your thoughts on The Last Dance? Did you have because I know there's a lot of mixed reviews on it. Does it change your view on Michael Jordan as a fan?
No.
It sounds like you're a fan of Michael Jordan, obviously, for what you did.
Yeah.
You're risking your job, right?
For sure.
Did you get fired?
No, I didn't change. I did not get fired. No. No. Because once they left, and once Jordan is gone, they don't care. Like,
sure.
He got in the car and he left. And they never thought. No, stance did not change my opinion of Jordan. I knew that he was good. I knew he was competitive. I knew looks, did all the things. So no, it didn't shut my perception of him.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat. Like, it actually kind of like, I think it kind of let some of the younger generation know too, like how dominant he was. I think there's that stigma that he didn't have the generation like before the LeBron, Kobe, and all that. I mean, it was maybe the names weren't as big, but it was a very physical game. It was a totally different game, right? But there was still a lot of really good players. There was a lot of really good teams. I mean, the Jazz could have won a championship if the Bulls weren't there for a while, right? I mean, the Jazz were a really good team. Sure. And so I think it kind of planted that seed of like some of the younger generation of like how good Jordan was. My younger brother, for example, is a huge Kobe guy. And I was like, telling him, like, I love Kobe. Don't get me wrong. Kobe was an assassin, same kind of style of Michael Jordan, had that killer instinct. But I'm like, Michael Jordan was on another level, in my opinion. And he didn't get to see that. And like, I would show him YouTube videos, and it's hard to really understand without actually watching a live game. But the guy was so dominant. And he's to kind of bring this back into the golf realm, there's only one other player that I think besides Michael Jordan that
here we go.
People will sit around and watch a game that Michael Jordan is playing, and the only other person I can think of is Tiger Woods. Maybe you're not a fan of Tiger Woods on and off the course, but he's one of those only few athletes that you would actually sit in and tune in and watch the Sunday and see if he wins, right? And that's kind of where and that's why I'm a big Tiger Woods fan. You could talk about his off the course issues, blah blah blah, but as a competitor and a golfer, it's that same kind of athlete, right? And that's kind of where I'm at. Tiger Woods was kind of the guy that really, I didn't get to see a lot of his dominant performances in '97 and all that. I was still kind of too young, and I wasn't really into golf at the time. So Ricky and Rory were kind of the guys that really ignited me. And again, I was talking for 90% of the time, but Bubba's kind of Dom's guy. But yeah, it's the generations is always changing, and there's always going to be a better person. LeBron is the guy right now, and maybe Giannis will be that guy next after LeBron, right?
God, I think it might be Ja Morant.
Yeah, Morant's pretty good.
He's good.
Dude, it's Ja Morant.
I don't know if it's Ja, though. Ja, he's a stud, but he was pretty quiet in the playoffs for us.
Doesn't matter. It still won.
No, they did, but I'm just saying, I think dominant-wise, Giannis is probably the dominant player right now. And Steph Curry's probably my top 5 player of all time. That guy changed the game, right?
He did change the game. He's making it hard to coach basketball. So we mentioned it, but I'm a JV head coach. And so every kid wants to shoot it from 40 feet. Just like I wanted to jump from the free throw line and do these crazy reverse layups and do all, the Reebok used to have a shirt that said elevate and decide in the air, and which my coaches hated because that's what we would do. We would jump and make bad decisions in the air. That was our version of the 40-foot Steph Curry 3-pointer because that's what they see. I'm not surprised by it. It is frustrating as a coach to say, hey, let's start at 8 feet. If you can make an 8-footer, maybe we can talk about 40 feet. You got to make an 8-footer first.
Exactly. Well, Trae Young, he's 6 foot tops. Really, he's probably not 6 foot. He's probably my height, 5'9". But same thing. Like he's that next, like shoots it from the logo, and you got all these kids that are my size that are doing the same exact thing. Now, I saw a YouTube video the other day, and it was back and forth 3-pointers, and it was I think they each like you seen that they hit like 7 or 8 in a row, and they were each shooting from the logo, and it was just like. I was like, would never happen. I get
frustrated at that because just check up and guard him. Just like guard from the inbounds. Defense. Like, don't let him do that. Like, stop that somehow. Send 4 guys at him if you have to. But just don't let him shoot.
On a coaching standpoint, exactly. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Like, don't let him do that. Like, that's literally the easiest probably shot to guard. If you think about it. Yeah, right. I mean, he's forking it up. And exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Like the game has changed, and that's what we're talking about. Like with Kobe, MJ, LeBron, it's evolution. I mean, the game is changing completely. But Dom, I know. I'm sorry. I'm probably boarding him right now, talking about all my MJ and
I don't do well at basketball. Like there's too much. Like I grew up playing baseball, not basketball. So for me, basketball is kind of over my head.
I will say it's probably the coolest story. I know we had Molly Golf on, and I don't know if you follow Molly Golf, but the way that they created their business was basically playing Augusta National, which is completely crazy and insane. Yeah, I mean, but this kind of story is up there for me because Jordan is my GOAT. And
I mean, the behind the scenes of that episode that will never be talked about was pretty crazy too.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, and for you too, it's like, you think about, you got the signature, like now in my mind, I'm thinking like I have these shoes secured, but they're under a garbage can. And
it was a chaotic 20 minutes.
Yeah. So do you still have the other pair? Like you said, you still wear the other pair?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have, aside from the 2 pairs that were stolen, one out of a locker room and one out of my car, I have every pair of Jordan I've ever bought. So I have original 86s, 87s, 88s, 89. I mean, I didn't buy them in 85. I was a young kid, so my parents would have had to buy them. But in 86, I mowed the lawns and threw in extra cash and did all the stuff. And so from 86 on, whenever I could afford to buy them, I would. So so I've got every shoe minus the 2 pair that were stolen. So they're starting to crumble. You know, all the glue is gone and they're dust. But so I need to send them to Govern and have them resold.
There you go. 2 last questions before we head out. First one is
I get one last because we have 2.5 minutes.
All right, there we go. Okay, so do you have any advice that you'd want to share? Maybe something on the course, or if somebody's maybe starting a business that has never started a business that you'd like to share?
Sure. Manage expectations, both on the course and in business, because you can have everything planned out and it goes south in a heartbeat. I mean, on golf, you know, you're playing golf, like you shoot that shot and it's a terrible lie or it's in a rough grass, whatever. You didn't plan for that. You think you're going to go in the fairway anyway. So it's managing expectations and how do you handle that? How do you work out of that? That translates same to the starting a business. I started chasing aces and I never thought we would be where we are. So then there's supply chain issues. I order hats and shirts and polos and beanies and all the keychains, all the whatever. And it takes months to get here because I have no idea if it's going to be 3 weeks or 3 months or 6 months. You know, beanies took 6 months, whatever. So it's you prepare and then prepare for it to go south and how you're going to react to that. Because you're either going to finish the round and you're going to launch your business or you're not. There are going to be a million hurdles between first hole and 18th hole and starting your business. So just manage expectations, accept that they're going to happen, changes are going to happen, and just keep working through it.
Well said. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time. I know we kind of said it was a long episode, but we enjoyed every minute of it. I love it.
No, thank you.
Golf, shoes, Jordan talk for me. That's my ideal podcast. So if we ever get our way out there, I know we were talking about before on Instagram, said love to head up to Portland. We'd like to tee it up and play some golf. So.
Yeah,
for sure. Love to have you out here. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.